What's up, everybody? Hope everyone is having a great evening so far. This is our first Miami Hurricanes After Dark episode where we actually talk about a legit game, not scrimmages, not practice, a legit game. Miami defeated UAB 31-14. First off, let me introduce everyone. We got my co-host, Fresh Northwest, all the way from the salmon capital of the world. We got Daniel. We got Caleb. We got more guests coming on like Anthony from 305 Sports. We also got 247 Canes, who's going to have his own website called Hurricanes Huddle. It's basically the next Canes Insight in the making. Well, that's what we hope. The potential is very big. Anyways, man, Fresh Northwest, what do you got for us today, man? I know there's tons of stuff to talk about.
How awesome to start off the season with a win, guys. I mean, I'll take it how I can get it right now. I mean, I'm sure we all would have liked to have seen certain things, but the fact that we didn't have to dive into the playbook and go nuts, we were able to just run a pretty basic, about as basic as you can get at this level, basic offense, and still find success with it, with the run game, with the young guys even showing up a little bit. I mean, it was just awesome. It was awesome to see things finally come together a little bit and get a little taste of what we can expect for the future. I mean, what really stood out, I guess, on offense, what really stood out to you the most, Caleb? Like, what did you see that really got you excited about the future?
Well, I was in attendance with a couple of my cousins and a couple of my friends, and I'm not going to lie. At the end of the game, I was a little disappointed, but then after I rewatched the game at home, honestly, I was really impressed on how different the offensive line looks this year compared to last year. It's literally like night and day. I mean, I don't think you could have gotten anything worse than what we got last year. But, I mean, I really think that as the season goes on, they're going to get better and better. And even, people want to say, oh, well, we didn't really do great in pass blocking. I mean, I didn't think we did that bad, to be honest with you. UAB only really brought pressure when they blitzed a lot of people. I don't know. That's the way I saw it. And I thought Cam Harris looked great. I thought, Chaney looked great. Rooster looked great. And honestly, I think that this offense is going to be a running offense. And, we're going to run to set up the pass. And honestly, I'm totally fine with it. I know a lot of people thought, it's going to be this high-octane offense. We're going to pass the ball all around the field. Right. And I just think, maybe we're not ready for that yet. And I think as the season progresses, you're going to see, more of that. But I don't think that everybody should, be disappointed like, why didn't we score as much as we did? Look, we missed a lot of chances. Like King missed Harley on a bomb that would have been 6, easy. And you know what? It happens sometimes. He missed Jeremiah Payton on an easy pass on an RPO. And let me tell you, a lot of people were angry after that. But hey, look, you know what? Things like that happen. And honestly, King hasn't played that much in 2 years, if you think about it. Like he redshirted last year at Houston. I think you're going to see a much improved team by the Florida State game. I think even next week we might be working through some kinks, but I think by Florida State, you're going to see the offense really take a lead.
Daniel, what stood out to you, man? What's got you excited about the future of this offense?
I mean, the run blocking, honestly. If you remember last year, what did we average, like 1.5 yards a carry?
It was bad.
Like, I knew Justice was gonna revamp this offensive line. I just didn't think it'd be this quick. The pass blocking worries me, but that'll take care. If we're gonna be a run first offense, and we're gonna run like that, we'll be fine. I mean, King hasn't played. King hasn't played in 2.5 years, basically.
Yeah, I think we forget that sometimes, dude. Honestly.
Yeah, but I think what he said earlier is right. Like, by the time we get to Florida State and then get to Clemson, I think the passing game will be there.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it.
Love it. You know, I'm gonna be positive, take the positive route. There were plenty of things I personally did not like. Running for 332 total yards, on the ground, that is outstanding. I mean, like if we can do that consistently, I mean, shit. I mean, hey, this is a very powerful offense at hand. Look how weak our passing game was, and we got 160 passing yards. Imagine if we actually connected with Mike Harley, connected with Jeremiah Payton, you know? Like, bro, like we almost had over 500 yards of total offense, and our passing game was very rusty. I felt like there were a lot of repetitive inside zone reads. I felt like De'Aaron King as well could have kept a lot of the zone reads for himself and take off for an easy 6. So, hey, give it time. Let's see next week against Louisville. Offensively, I'm fine. I think we're gonna get better. Like you guys said, De'Aaron King hasn't played a football game in nearly 2 years. He even stated like this was the first game he's played without his father. That was on his mind constantly throughout the game. It was an emotional game for him. Okay, first game of the season, new offense, new school, new uniform. So, hey, I completely get that. He's going to be more comfortable with his receivers. I would have liked to see the tight ends incorporated a lot in this game. Everybody says we have the best tight end duo in the nation. Well, they're never involved in our game plan. I mean, shit. 3 receptions to Brevin Jordan. And he averaged 17 yards each reception. Like, yo, the guy's a playmaker. They literally just threw him like a 5-yard it was like just a legit screen pass they threw him. Takes it to like 20 yards. I mean, he's a playmaker, man. Give him the ball. Will Mallory didn't even get one target. Give those guys the football, man. Will Mallory is probably your most athletic player on the field besides De'Aaron King, in my opinion. Personally, I think King showed that he's an elite runner, and we knew that coming in. So there's nothing wrong with that. They did a great job offensively running the football, and hey, I think defense worries me more than offense, honestly. Specifically cornerback play, but we'll get into that. That's what this show's about.
Really? Wow.
Cornerback play was god awful. DJ Ivy does not turn his head around at all. He plays eyes to hands. I don't get that. I don't understand that. Al Blades, he's our only corner that played well to a certain extent. Yesterday's game, everybody else needs to step up.
Honestly, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, I was extremely I think Al played decent. He dropped a pick, by the way.
Yeah.
Him and Smith, they both dropped a pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why people keep defending DJ. Like, I see people on message boards and stuff. They're like, oh, he's young. He'll get better. Look, the guy started all of last year. And, okay, 1 year as a starter, okay, you got to understand that, hey, you know what? There's going to be some growing pains. But, look, I mean, you expect, some type of improvement. And when you're seeing the same stuff, like, all the time, like, there were 2 other plays last night where there was one play in the third quarter. Like, if the quarterback would have hit the wide receiver, it's a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And he threw a duck, and that's why, DJ tipped it away. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I honestly, I'm done with the guy. Like, I don't think, he's going to be – I just don't see it. I know everybody says, oh, that's Mike Rump's guy. He works hard. He's a bookworm. Okay, all of that doesn't matter if you're not getting the job done.
By the way, 247 Canes has just entered the Zoom call. Thank you so much for coming on, man. All right, he's getting set up. He's on mute. Ross, what did you think about the game, man? I know you were happy that we won. That's what I got. I mean, you were ecstatic about that.
I'm happy we won, of course, but yeah, I mean, I definitely saw some issues. King with the touch on his passes, even with some time in the pocket, weren't exactly pretty. And and I know he hasn't thrown in a while, first game and stuff, so I'm just gonna kind of take that as what it is right now. I'm not gonna like overboard about it. I would of course have loved to have seen things just click automatically, but what are you going to do? I mean, it is what it is. I think that will come around eventually, but this run game is awesome. Like you guys have all mentioned, the run game is just freaking awesome. Those young guys, I'm so excited to see what the future has to hold for him. Cam, I mean, he's going to be our go-to guy, but those two young guys, I'm so excited to see what the future holds for them. As far as you bringing up the tight ends, I'm glad you brought that up, Paul, because I'm thinking the same thing in my head is if I got a quarterback who's needing to find rhythm a little more and needing to make a play, I would start looking for my tight ends. I'd start looking for my Brevin Jordans, Will Mallory's, and that kind of stuff. And we didn't see a focus on that too much. I don't know if that had to do with Lashley wanting to just keep things simple and not show too much of the playbook still or what, but, you know, I'm not quite sure exactly what played into that. But, I mean, overall, you know, I'm not upset with our performance. We could have played prettier offense and defense. Nesta showing up finally was a fantastic thing to see Nesta causing havoc on the defensive line. Yeah. That was, I mean, that was just, I've been waiting to see it for a while. We've seen some flashes here and there, but he consistently showed up this game, and that was huge. Got to see some more out of Ford. I'd like to see a lot more out of him, honestly. He didn't show up like I'd like him to. I think he's still capable, but he's got to do better than that. The ends, I mean, Phillips, he caused a little bit of havoc, but Roshi there, Quincy Roshi there, his athleticism, his bend, he's something special, I think. I think we honestly got something special right there. We got a guy who's going to, as we saw, contribute from week one and just every week for us, I think. So I think we're going to see a better defense next week. I think we're going to grow as the season goes on. Ivy's got to get his shit together. It's just there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It makes me wonder what his competition was like in this offseason. If he won that battle, how bad was his competition behind him? Is Rumpf not just wanting to play young guys or what really happened there? But something's got to give eventually. Something has to give. But up and up, though, man, yeah, we didn't do bad.
247 Canes, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me. What's up, man?
Basically, what were your first thoughts about the game, man?
Well, we started off slow, but first and foremost, we got the victory. Like I said, that's all I wanted, all I asked for. You know, with the limited amounts of practice that we've had and the limited amount of time that King has had to, you know, for this offense, I think we can't expect much right away. But my initial thoughts were there was a lot of mistakes offensively through the zone reads. There was also mistakes done by the O-line, mistakes done on defense. But I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but it's just, you know, I see a lot of room for improvement. So I guess that's where I want to just leave it at for right now.
Anything, I know 247 Canes just got on, anything that you guys have not heard yet that you would like to address that you thought was maybe a strength we didn't talk about or a weakness?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody brought it up, but is it strange that the backup linebackers looked better than the starting linebackers? I mean, no offense to McLeod, but he has regressed every year that he's been here. I mean, I think the last big-time game he played was in the bowl game his freshman year. And I don't know, man. I honestly think that Steed looked pretty good. You know, coming off 2 major knee surgeries, he looked pretty good to me. Jennings looked pretty good, but he just doesn't have the speed once, you know, running backs get to the second level. He just doesn't have the speed to catch up to him. And I mean, hey, look, he's a thumper, so you can't really expect that. I thought Sam Brooks, you know, he didn't look as good as he did in the bowl game. You know, sometimes when they ran the ball, you know, the O-line was able to gobble him up really quickly. I don't know. I think linebacker play is still, you know, something that is worrisome. Just my opinion on that, though.
I do not disagree. No, I think that's very fair. I would like to see Sam Brooks and Avery Huff ultimately take over. We have, what is McLeod, a redshirt senior? Man, there was one pass play that got broken up. I thought he could have picked it off, honestly. He tried to grab it with one hand, smack it in the air. Did anybody else see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know which play.
Yeah.
I just, like, dude, you're a veteran player. Like, you shouldn't be acting that awkward towards, you know, well, football.
I mean, why are we the only school that doesn't play younger kids. Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
They play the best player in the field. Doesn't matter what age you are.
Like,
Best player
dude, why
plays.
is
We're the only
Rigoni
school that
getting
does it.
any type of snaps?
Seriously. Thank you.
I just don't understand it, man. Like Manny, I think this is something that Manny has done,
Right.
for a while. Like he plays people that like look, no offense, Amari Carter, he sucks. Like Amari Carter sucks. Like and okay, nice that he's a captain, he's smart, he helps with the team GPA, but the guy he's not even an XFL player. Like no offense, but Bubba and Gervin should be playing and starting. And you know who should be backing them up? The freshman safeties. Like, I just don't get it, man.
Remember Scott Patchen last year starting over Rousseau?
Oof. I don't want to think about that.
How is DJ Ivy even on the field? Are you telling me you don't have any
You don't have any
other corners that are better?
Christian Williams, every time he came in, it wasn't pretty either. Couch isn't ready either.
I mean,
Nickel at the next level.
I like what I saw from Frierson. I know he plays different position, but at the same time, I like what I see from Frierson. I like what I see from Al Blades. I think I spoke with you about this, Paul, off air, about how DJ Ivy does not turn around for the ball.
Never.
There was multiple times in the end zone where he could have turned around, just find the ball, and he could have made a play on the ball. There was another pass. I think it was a back shoulder throw on the sidelines. He was falling. He was out of balance the whole way. Like, I mean, the kid has skill. It's just if he were to remember to at least, turn around when he sees the receiver turn around for the ball. Like, I mean, you could clearly see it on film. The receiver looks at the ball, and DJ Ivy's still looking straight at the receiver, falling. That's not. Other teams are gonna see that, and they're gonna go after him. So that's.
They're gonna have a field day on him.
If he hasn't fixed it by now, can we rightfully expect this to get better? I mean, do we see any hope with him at all that it could possibly get better? Because, I mean, to see what happened with him last year and then to come out week one against a subpar, or like not a subpar, I should say, but like a smaller team, slower team than we're normally going to play, and get just completely confused. There were times where he didn't even understand the relation of where he was and where his wide receiver was to where the quarterback was throwing the ball from. He was turning his shoulder and looking at a play that couldn't even have happened because the quarterback couldn't even have thrown it that way because he wasn't there. So I don't know. Can we rightfully sit here and think that it can get better? Or do we need to go to the youth and need to, like Couch and those guys, get some playing time immediately?
Honestly, I think this is the biggest indictment you can have on Coach Rumpf. I'm sorry. I think it's already time. Somebody has to say it, man. Like, okay, you're an alumni. You were a great Cane. That's awesome. But guess what? You can't recruit. And guess what? Your best players, they're getting cut. They're not even getting practice squad. You feel me? Like, and then the guys that you have now, I mean, look, I think Al is good. I think there's some things he could get better with. But honestly, he's serviceable at least. But that's it. Like, Ivy, like, I don't even understand. Like, dude, on the touchdown, it was the easiest thing. They did the same pass to Al Blades later in the game, and guess what? Al Blades almost had a pick. I mean, he should have picked it.
Right.
DJ, all you got to do is just turn around, man. I think, honestly, at this point, this is something that is most likely, in his head. This is like a confidence thing. Yeah. And honestly, I don't think, I don't think he's going to get better. And I think, you know what? Try Marcus Clark. Try Dunson. You got to try something because what we have now, that ain't cutting it.
The thing is, too,
go ahead. Sorry, Paul. Just so you guys know, Al Blades, after last season, was the second in terms of grade. He was top 3 in the country.
Yeah, but, to be fair, who's the best quarterback Al Blades saw last year? Was it Sam Howell, a freshman?
Probably, yeah.
Probably
Sam Howell.
The ACC Coastal is weak. That's why I don't believe in those stats because, you're comparing it to other players in tougher competition. They see better quarterbacks. Like, they see better receivers. You know, like Al Blades, like, let's be real. Like, no receiver in the ACC Coastal matches up with a skill set of a Miami player in our secondary. Like, there's no strong wide receiver core. There's no strong quarterbacks. Like, it's very few. Unless he's seeing Sam Howell, Trevor Lawrence, and let's say it was Kyle Trask. If that, I mean, like, there's really it's comparing like night and day, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I don't believe in those dumb stats, because truly, like, that's just me though. That's what my opinion on.
I mean, the problem is, like, Rump can't recruit, so like, where do we go from here when we have only one above average corner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in defense a little bit to some of the corners, I don't know if people saw it as well, but there was a lot of like good plays where you know, they were picked. Like they set a pick for corners. Like they would send one guy up the seam, stop, and then it would force between Blades and whoever was a striker to make a decision on somebody. So they were stuck. So I mean, I give credit to UAB for that, but still, we should have been a little bit more prepared. And yeah, we need more guys in that locker room that could be an elite corner. And that does eventually fall on Rumpf a little bit, but you know, that's just my take. I think Rumpf is a good teacher, but at the end of the day, we need somebody that could you know, flat out perform in the recruiting trail.
I mean, I will say in Couch's defense, on that one big play that he gave up, he did get picked off on it, and he almost got the fumble. But of course, Mr. Edward Scissorhands, you know, DJ Ivy, dude, just pick up the ball. You freaking kicking it? Like, are you kidding me, man? Pick up the ball. It's that simple. You can't even do that.
There's something mentally going on. There's a mental block right now Ivy's going through, dude. I mean, I think he's got all the physical tools that we could ask for, and it's why he's on the field. I mean, that's why he's out there. But there's something
so inconsistent
going on. I don't know what it was though. What shook him? What threw him off so bad that he just can't get back on his feet? You know?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I have with him. I'm sorry to butt in again. I'm sorry, guys. It's just he's inconsistent. One game you'll see him flash and see how good he could be. And then 2 games later, you'll see him have like one of the worst games. So he's like a roller coaster. That's why I think he just needs to have a season where he's just steady. And I don't know if we're gonna see that, because I mean, this was UAB. You know, I know they got some playmakers like Mitchell and Watkins, but you know, these are not guys at the Power 5 level. You know.
Man, if you think that's bad, we got Tutu Atwell next week.
Yep. And he lit us up.
Man. He gonna have a feast. Filet mignon, papo. Via de eso.
Jesus.
I truly think next week's game against Louisville is going to be Big 12 football, 1st to 45. Whoever gets there first wins the football game. That's
Are you serious?
I mean, look, offensively, it's a new defense. Our best player isn't on our team anymore. It's a whole new linebacker core. Pickney, Quarterman, they're gone. It's a whole new ball game. Watch out.
I agree. I agree, because the thing is that, I mean, look, even last year, they scored pretty nice on us, to be honest. I mean, people are going to look at the score and they're going to be like, oh, we blew them out. But it was pretty close in the first half. And that when they had big plays, they were touchdowns.
Yeah.
Tutu Atwell, I think he had like 170-yard touchdown last year.
Yeah,
like, let me tell you, if you think this week we had a headache, we're going to have a bigger headache this week coming up. The only reason why I don't think it won't be a track meet, but I think Louisville, I give them like maybe 28-31. But I don't think it's going to be a track meet because they lost a lot on their offensive line. I mean, dude, they lost a giant, you know, and he went to the Jets in the first round. So I think that our defensive line should be able to generate a lot of pressure. And the only way I see it being a track meet is if, you know, I just honestly, I don't see it, because I think the D-line will do good enough where, you know what, the corners are going to get exposed a little bit, but they ain't getting 40. I don't see that.
I mean, if we have DJ Ivy out there,
Yeah.
I mean, if he has to guard Tutu, we're in trouble.
I mean, honestly, we better hope Corey is up to it. I don't know. Another thing is, why these guys still look so small, man? Like Mark Pope. Mark Pope, my nickname for him is the Fideo, the noodle, because he literally looks like they can snap him in half. Like, I don't know how you've been in college for 3 years and you still look like you a sophomore or you a junior in high school.
Caleb read my mind, bro.
I'm glad you brought up Pope because I was just going to ask you guys, what do we think about this wide receiver core? I mean, what did you guys – are we gonna keep relying on these upperclassmen? Are we going to start seeing some of the freshmen maybe get a little more playing time going forward? What do you guys think?
I mean, honestly, I don't have any hope for Pope, to be honest with you. I ain't gonna call him a bust, but let's just say he ain't never gonna live up to that 5-star billing that he had. And it's sad because he had all the intangibles. It's just I don't know what it is. He another one that's in his own head. To be honest with you, like I don't get it. And honestly, if it were me, I'm starting Peyton next week.
Yeah.
That's me. Because whenever he was in the game, he was able to create separation. The only time he messed up was on a 3rd and 14 that King went deep and he did a comeback route. And even then, I didn't even think that was a mess up. That was just a miscommunication between the two of them. And honestly, I'm not surprised because he hasn't been getting first-team snaps. He's been running with the twos. And I don't care how good Pope has looked in practice. He doesn't show it in the game. Even in the one, I think he had like 1 or 2 catches. And on one of the catches, he was already falling down before he caught the ball. What are you doing? Like, you're supposed to catch it and run with it. Honestly.
And then the muff punt.
Oh, my God.
Let me tell you, man. He didn't even get hit that hard either. Like, if you look at the replay, he barely got touched, and he already landed the ball out.
Yeah, there was that case, and there was the one where he caught it inside the 10 that made everybody nervous.
Oh, my. He took it back to the end zone.
Yeah. I mean, kids aren't perfect, so I don't expect them to be, but there's just some things that are a little extra. And that's why I think that's my nickname for him. I don't call him Fideo or Noodle or whatever you want to call him. I just call him extra because he's always trying to do more than he should. And, I give him credit because he wants to do something spectacular and be the hero. But at the same time, it's just those little simple miscues that could cost the game and, turn momentum around and give momentum to the other team. So, there's just some things that I question about him, but I hope he can turn it around. This receiving core, I think, is fine. I like D. Wiggins. I like what I saw from Peyton, just like you guys, and I saw a little bit from Mike Harley as well that I liked. He had some pretty good route running in this game. So, I think we're fine in the receiving core. I just hope that we could get them the ball a little bit more. Because there are some times where King could have gone to some of our receivers, but he had a defender in his face, so he wasn't able to get them the ball. So,
honestly, in my opinion, I think this offense needs to be running back and tight ends. You got to feed Brevin Jordan and you got to feed Mallory. Like Mallory, I'm gonna give him credit on that 66-yard touchdown run that Cam did. He made a fantastic block that sprung Cam all the way to the crib. In my opinion, look, we do not have an alpha in the wide receiver room. I was hoping it was going to be Wiggins. I don't know if it's going to be that. I'm hoping that Peyton can develop that, but he's still young, So I'm going to be honest, you got to go with the number 1 tight end in the nation. You got to feed Brevin Jordan. If we have a good offense, it shouldn't be that hard to feed your best player. And honestly, I don't think it's close. I think Brevin is going to go in the first round in the NFL draft. And I think you cannot, give him only 3 targets. That's ridiculous.
Before we move forward with Caleb's statement on Brevin Jordan, incorporating the tight ends, Anthony from 305 Sports has joined us. They do a great job, man. They literally are putting in that work. They're either they're interviewing recruits at high school games, uploading highlights, evaluating our recruits at high school games, or, they're just doing a great job covering Miami sports in general, the whole city of Miami. So, Anthony, thank you very much for coming on, man. And what were your thoughts about the game?
Hey man, just a testament. Like I told you a little bit earlier, UAB came out with a pretty foreign defense. So it's kind of like in-game adjustment. I think we'll see not an entirely different offense against Louisville, but definitely a lot more passing. I think we need to see a little more passing.
Yeah, I agree. I think the routes, I would like to see more drags, more slants, more comeback routes.
Less screens.
Right. Right. So I agree.
A little better in the red zone. I didn't really like what they were doing in the red zone.
Okay.
But that could also be aside from King's miss on Peyton, which resulted in a field goal.
Right.
I mean, then they could have hit the 35-point mark, but I think they need to do a better job on offense. But it'll come next week.
Want to fast kind of rewind back on Pope. Man, why do we still have him at punt return? Like, I see the potential. He is explosive, I mean, he can make people miss. But, I saw Gervin Hall the second punt. Why not try Gervin Hall at returning punts, man? I mean, if you look closely at Mark Pope returning the football, it's wiggling out of his hands. Like, it's coming out. I mean, I'm sorry. It's like Jeff Thomas 2.0. Except Jeff, I think Mark Pope is more explosive, man. Like Jeff Thomas, like honestly, I thought that was, the most overrated Kane I've ever seen in my life. Dude. I mean, our fan base overhypes everything.
There's times where Pope looks like he's just not sure of himself almost. It's like he's got the ball, but he doesn't know what move he's even going to make next. I mean, he's questioning himself before anything even goes down.
And that comes with
I agree with you. I think Gervon should look, honestly, I'd rather Gervon just do your fair catch than Mark Pope try and return. Because we already saw it. He fumbled once. Who's to say he won't do it again? I don't think Gervon will fumble. And honestly, I think he could have some decent moves. I mean, last year he had a pick versus Florida State, and he returned it like 35 yards.
Right.
So you know what? I just put him back there. And I know some people are going to say, oh, you don't want your starting safety back there. Well, look, it's either that or you got to get somebody else. Because I agree with you. I don't want Pope back there no more.
I don't think this should be a problem at the University of Miami. I don't think we should have this problem finding kick returners and punt returners. We should be able to put somebody back there and at minimum at least have some speed to offer, Enough IQ, but
who's our coach, guys? Who's our special teams coach? Anybody know? I know who it is.
Coach Packy.
Who have we been talking about? What position groups for a while on this show? What coaches? Packy and Rump. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. We got 2 dead weight coaches on the staff.
Listen, Rump doesn't even recruit. He's not a good recruiter. They have people say Banda recruits for the cornerback position. Okay, that's already 1X on Rump. If you can't recruit at the college level, you need you need to be a good recruiter at a certain extent. Coaching wise, look, people say, oh, the development of Michael Jackson. Oh, he helped with the position switch with Sheldrick Redwine. Like, Redwine ended up being a safety. I mean, like, he didn't end up being a corner, okay? He didn't develop as a corner at Miami. Al Blades, he's played well. I'll give him that. After that, man, there's really not a lot. Adrian Colbert, what did he play at Miami? 8 games? He played 8 games.
Man, he's a safety in the NFL. He's not even a corner.
There you go.
I'll say this. I'll jump on the Rumpf issue. If problems continue throughout this season. But, I think overall as a whole, just to keep judging Rumpf and Packy after just one game,
The 247, I don't think it's just one game. I think it's just a –
No, yeah, I understand that. But for right now, I just want to see the whole season before I jump on the bandwagon of, fire Packy, fire this guy. Because stability at the coaching positions. We haven't had that for the longest, and that's hurt us. In the recruiting trail, that's hurt us everywhere. So, I mean, that's just my opinion, but we'll see.
I
We'll see
agree
what
with
happens.
you. I agree with you there to a certain extent, because at a certain point, stability is nice, but stability ain't nice when I got bum sauce. You feel me?
Yeah.
If I got someone that can't coach, can't recruit, why am I paying you? Why am I having you employed? Look, think of this as a job. At your job, if you don't do a good job, if you're going late all the time, guess what's going to happen? They're going to give you the boot. So guess what? I mean, to me, it's simple, bro. Either these corners shape up this year, or he got to get the axe. Because guess what? If you look at our commit list, who's our corners? We got Tim Burns, and you know what? Tim Burns was going to come even if, some random bum off the street was the cornerback coach for Miami, because that's just how, we get who we want from Miami Northwestern. And then Curtis looked better on offense than he do on defense.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. Look, I'll tell you what, I'm not even sure if we're going to get Martavius Brown from IMG, because it looks like Virginia Tech might snag him. And let me tell you, his whole family, Canes, they grew up rooting for UM. Imagine, man, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I think Rumph, God bless him, but unless things drastically change, I don't know how you can say that he should keep his job.
I respect that 100%.
People have said it. I mean, not everybody, of course, but there are a lot of fans have said it for even a couple of years now that they wanted Rumph gone. Could this be the year? I mean, I don't know what's kept him from not going or kept him from or keeping him there exactly, but if he has another bad year, do we have the balls as a staff to cut him? I mean, or is Rumph a Miami guy and we just keep him in?
Rumph is probably the safest guy on the defense, because Manny in the past, that's the thing. Canes Insight reported Rumph was not safe. So I always think Manny protects his coaching tree first. The Packies, the Bandas, the Bakers, that's been with him in the past and past coaching stats. He's always going to protect those guys because, I mean, he taught them the game. He brought them, they were underdogs, just like Manny. Rumph is a first-round pick at Miami. He's an alumni of Miami. He played football at Miami. So if you're going to get rid of Rumph, then they're going to make Manny get rid of his assistant coaches. It's a package deal. So that's why I think Rumph has been around for a while, because, they always tell him, Rumph goes, Packy goes.
Well, honestly, that should have been done.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I thought last offseason he was out. I remember everybody was talking about it, that he wasn't going to come back. And I was like, thank God. But then things switched up after a couple of days. And you know what must have happened? I think Manny had someone that he wanted to get, and that person got poached and got hired somewhere else. So to save face, he was like, oh, no. I was never going to fire you. Forget about that. And I guess that's what happened. He got caught, and he didn't know who. He probably had one person in mind, and because he couldn't get that person, he was like, you know what, let's just roll with Rumph again. And you know what? That's really lazy if that's what really happened. And I'm pretty sure that that's what happened. You know what? Because we like to do a lot of lazy hires. That's what we like to do all the time. Oh, we got a chance at Mario Cristobal. Oh, no, let's just hire Manny Diaz real quick, you know? But I'm not going to bring that back up because then people are going to get angry and stuff.
It's always been a problem when you've got coaches who've got friends on staff and that friend isn't holding up their end of the bargain, kind of. They're not holding up their weight. We saw it with Al Golden and the defensive coordinator. I mean, he just didn't want to fire him and get rid of him. They were buddies. He didn't want to get rid of him. Mark Richt and his son at quarterback coach. I mean, what are you going to do there? That's his son. It can backfire sometimes.
It took Bobby Bowden to fire either his son, some Bowden, not Tommy Bowden, the other one that either ran the offense or defense, and it took him 5 years to let him go. But 5 brutal years. It was evident yo, this is what's causing us to not win games, because because to fire his own son or get rid of him. So, I mean, if it took Florida State 5 years, shit. I mean, it took Mark Richt to literally retire for the game. Like it's not easy, I guess, when they're in those shoes. Like, I don't know. For me, it's like pretty easy, but maybe I'm just a cold person. Like, I just don't care.
Well, I don't think it's that. I just think, I mean, if you're Manny, you got to realize your job is on the line. You had a terrible year last year, and if things don't shape up, I think, honestly, I think people are being nice. Look, to be honest with me, I went into this year thinking you got to go at least 10-1, to make up for what happened last year. Now, maybe that's, putting the bar kind of high. But you know what? After a year like last year, you have to put the bar high for this year because you made a bunch of changes and, there's no excuses. The defensive line is great. You made changes on the offensive side of the ball. You brought in new coaches. You brought in a new quarterback. Like, ain't no excuses, man. You just got to go out there and win. And let me tell you, if the cornerback position ends up being the weak link on this defense and costs us game, I guarantee you he's going to be thinking, man, I should have done the right thing last offseason. And guess what? If that does happen, that might cost him his job. Because if we end up going like 7-5 or, not winning at least 8 games, oh, man, you're going to see the type of heat that's going to come on Manny Diaz.
It's all in 2020, man. We're going all in. We brought in De'Aaron King. We brought in a new offensive coordinator, new offensive line coach. Manny understands, like, we're going all in. Next year, we're not going to beat Alabama. I'd be in shock if we do. Unless King comes back and, like, everybody and their mom returns, like, we're not beating Alabama. Like, I don't see it at all.
We got to start developing better depth in the trenches before we can start battling with those big boys. I mean, it's nice to see some flashes from players, but we just don't have the depth in the trenches yet to compete with those big guys.
I mean, I'll put it to you nicely. Their second string, half of their second string would be our first string, honestly speaking. I mean, and this is what happens when, you miss out on big targets. We wouldn't be talking like this if a couple years ago, if Mike Rumpf could have gotten Tyson Campbell or Pat Surtain, or if maybe he would have not been, such a hard ass and would have kissed CJ Henderson's ass instead of, trying to be all hard and stuff. And guess what? We had someone that we got locked up that ended up going in the first round, and he ended up going to Florida just because you couldn't butter him up a little bit. Look, this is a different generation. I can tell you because I'm 22. I know a lot of people around this age and stuff. And kids these days, they're a different breed. And honestly, they like, when people like to butter them up and tell them that they're good. And I don't know. I think Mike Rumpf just doesn't relate to this generation. And you can see why. You can see why we don't really pull that many elite corners. I mean, people are like, oh, well, he always gets a late corner. Oh, you see he got Christian Williams. Look, the only reason why we got Christian Williams is because Alabama found a replacement for him. And then people are going to say, oh, well, LSU was going after him. Look, let me tell you, man, if LSU really wanted him, he would have gone to LSU. And that's calling a spade, because LSU, they get who they want. Like, I'll tell you what, I would be shocked if we end up getting Earl Little's son next recruiting class. Wow. You want to know why? Because it's between Alabama, LSU, and Miami. And guess what? I highly doubt that he's going to come here to get coached by Mike Rumpf when he could go to LSU the year after they have someone go in the first round, because their cornerback that they have right now, Stingley, he's the best cornerback in the country, and he's the sophomore. So, honestly, I don't know how that's going to get fixed, and it's a damn shame because you should never have a legacy player, not even give you a chance. And honestly, I don't think that's going to happen.
If he can't get a guy like Little, that's a problem. It's a big freaking problem, and it's a problem that keeps persisting. It's not like it's a new problem, but, I mean, Little was a player that we really shouldn't have a problem getting in orange and green. It shouldn't be a problem at all, but I truly don't see it happening.
Like, look at Pat Surtain's son. Pat Surtain, I think he went to LSU. Like, his son's playing at Alabama, So that legacy stuff I've never been really big into because, like, let's be honest, like, Al Blades is probably, like, the only legacy player that's, like, actually, like, done really well. Or, like,
you never know what you're going to get.
Like,
I mean,
legacy, I don't believe in that legacy shit. Like, get the fucking best. Straight up. Oh, we signed Mike Orvit's son. Oh, we signed Vincent Testavere's son. Like, low-key, it's kind of a waste of a scholarship. Give me the undersized 5'9", 5'8" wide receiver that wants to fucking put his heart out on the field and has always been the underdog his whole life and work hard and was literally underevaluated in high school. And I guarantee you he will do better than the legacy player who's been handed everything his whole life because of his father. Guaranteed.
Last year, I mean, not last year, but in the offseason, I said it all along that our main problem this year was going to be on defense because I wasn't worried about the offense. I think that's going to translate to be true during this year. I hope not, but let me speak up on that. Okay, I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, we only had like 6 tackles for loss this game. And we didn't have no turnover chain. Okay, no turnover. The turnover chain did not make an appearance. I understand that UAB was playing it. Their game plan was, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over. But I didn't see our front be as aggressive as they should. Whether that's UAB that got rid of the ball quickly or did a lot of misdirections. But I did not see, our defense live up to the hype that they're supposed to live up to. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not saying that they're a bust. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm just a little disappointed with the defensive performance that I saw. Obviously, Nesta had a pretty good game. I saw him chasing people downfield, and I was really happy with that. But there's just Jalen Phillips I wasn't too impressed with. I hope he could sorry, I got a light issue here. I hope he could show something because he didn't show me a lot of things. DJ Ivy is another one. Roche, or Roche, however you pronounce his name correctly. I didn't see much. I hope we can see more during the Louisville game. So I mean, I'm just not impressed with our defense right now. Whether that falls on Blake Baker, that falls on Manny Diaz, whoever it falls on, which I'm gonna put the blame right now on the players. I don't know, but I want to see them improve. I want to see more aggressiveness. I want to see better, choices of blitz, the timing of the blitzes, and I want to see a better game management also from our defense. That's all.
Why do we always rush 3? We'll randomly blitz with the striker on 3rd down and then drop.
Oh my gosh, that is the worst, man. I don't know why Baker keeps doing it, man. Like, you got elite defensive ends. I'm gonna be honest. I'll probably take our defensive end group even without Greg. I think we have a top 5 in the nation defensive end group. Why are you rushing 3? I don't get it, man. It's the same shit we did last year.
Anthony, is it time to hit the panic button?
One game in? Nah. I'm just keeping it cool right now. I don't want to hit the gas or hit the brakes just yet.
I agree. And by the way, Anthony just saw Thad Franklin play live, man. So he had a lot.
Him, Alan Hay, and Jamal Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, you had a lot of great things to talk about. Thad Franklin.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns tonight, over 100 yards. I'm still not too sure if it's because he's, like a 5-star talent, or if it's just because he's a man playing against high school kids.
He's a tank, man. He's a tank.
It's just like he would just get the ball and his runs wouldn't be that long, but once 5 guys are on him, he's taking an extra 4 yards with the 5 guys on him. We'll post highlights soon, and I already posted some on my Twitter, but it's just the guy would not go down no matter what. I mean, I don't know. It was good to see him. I talked to him after the game, and
How big are they listing him at this year?
oh, damn, if I have the audio, but I completely forgot. All I know is that he lost 17 pounds in 2 weeks. That's one thing I remember.
Damn.
He looks strong, man. On those videos you posted on Twitter, he looks strong.
Yeah. He's a big guy. Him and Alan Hay also lost a lot of weight. He came into camp overweight, he told me, because he was playing Madden all quarantine. But now he's focused. But Kenyatta Jackson, a 2022 guy who the Hurricanes are targeting, also someone. That guy's like ginormous. Not as in like, I don't know. He still isn't big, but he's like 6'7", 6'8", and he moves like, I think about it in like basketball terms. Like, that kid's a guard right there. Like, that kid can play a 2 guard.
That's a 5-star talent right there. We gotta get him.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
we gotta get him.
back to Franklin. He's also gonna be playing basketball at the U.
Yeah, I saw it on. There was a report that he said that. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that today. But aside from that, he's talking to FSU and Rutgers the most. But he was kind of like calling it off, really, saying that he's locked into UM. But
Look, man. After
yeah.
he saw last night's game, he probably thinking, man, why the hell am I gonna go to Florida State? Man,
Yeah.
their offensive line, they got guys. You pick at the wire. They're like, hey, man, come here. We need some people because we ain't got nobody.
Yeah. The only concern would probably be they have 3 running backs that are dominating, you know. Then as a freshman, he obviously wants to produce because he goes to FSU, he'll probably play day 1. But if he comes to Miami and Knighton and Cheney are doing well and Harris decides to stay another year, then it's going to be him at, I don't know, 4th string, right? I mean, I'm assuming.
Nah,
Well,
I don't think Cam coming back. Cam gone after this year. He keep balling the way he looks. Forget about it. He not coming back.
We can
Well,
probably go ahead.
no. Go ahead. It's your show, Paul.
I mean, bro, honestly, if we just fucking run the ball with King and Cam, like, we can actually like have a winning record just off of those 2 guys. Is like our major, playmakers on offense. Like, if we just go literally like run heavy, like throw the ball 10 times, like run the ball 60 times, like we probably would have finished the season with a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're that good.
I'm totally fine with that, honestly. That's why I held my breath when there was a moment in I don't know if it was the 3rd or 4th quarter that Cam went down and he was down for a minute. I was super nervous.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yo,
Well, then they went to commercial after that, bro. So we didn't know what happened. They went right to commercial. So I was like, shit, what happened to Cam?
Yeah, I was just looking on Twitter to see what happened, and then I saw he jogged off the field. So
Yeah, he jogged off the field, but he was on the ground for a good 30 to 45 seconds.
He was
Maybe
rolling
even
around
more.
in pain. He looked like
Yeah,
he was. In pain.
He was. I mean, it's just a bump on the knee, man. It's gonna hurt regardless, and especially if it was a face mask or whatever hit him in the knee,
yeah, another thing that scared me, I don't know if it was just me, being a little panicking, but every time Derek King got tackled, it was to his knees. Like it wasn't like I don't know. I saw a helmet at his knees every time, and I was like, one bad hit and this guy's done.
I mean, yeah, whenever you have a running quarterback, that's always a concern. But I mean, he's done it for so long that
yeah,
I think he's used to it. I mean, that's why he hurdled a couple of defenders and scored that touchdown in the end zone.
I'm not trying to be hard. I'm not trying to be hard on this guy, but N'Kosi Perry, anybody was kind of a little bit down. He didn't. I mean, I just saw the same N'Kosi Perry as last year, or maybe we shouldn't evaluate someone else.
No, I think they were just. They told him to run the ball. What, he had like 6 snaps maybe.
I mean, they shut
the
it down.
ball. Hand the ball to Robert Burns.
I want new energy in this program, man. I mean, it's a new generation. It's Manny Diaz. Enough of the Jaron, N'Kosi Perry, whoever the hell was our quarterback before that, man. Like, it's a new era at Miami, bro. Get new guys. It's a new system. Like, let's go, man. Enough with the old stuff.
How about Tate?
I'm gonna be honest.
Tate's done. Get him out. Get him out.
man.
He got
What
suspended.
did he do? Does anybody know?
Many said in the presser, he said that he got suspended for violating team rules or something like that. I mean, one can suspect whatever they want, but I don't know.
I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest. I think Tate's a good dude. I just think that you know what, he's just not a QB at a Power 5 program. You feel me? Like, hey, thanks for coming. You help with the GPA. You're just, you're a jack. You're just another guy. And the problem is, I thought that we didn't have as many Jags as we do, but I was hella wrong. We got more Jags on this team than I expected going into this year. And that's why this 2021 class, we have to ball out because we got to keep these ballers and we got to do whatever we got to do to keep them because we're going to have a bunch of freshmen playing next year.
You think so?
I think, 100%.
How many produced yesterday? 3 or 4?
I think Knighton played, Cheney played. I think
they had Michael Redding in. They targeted him like once or twice.
Yeah, Cozy threw to him. That was his one incompletion. He went to him on a slant, and he overthrew him.
Yeah. X played special teams, but I don't really count that. He's just running up and down.
If we're going to be playing a lot of freshmen next year, we're still rebuilding.
And yeah.
I mean, we're in a rebuild year right now, man.
I mean, I know you mentioned rebuild, and that might sound like a negative thing, but to be honest with you, I mean, I see Knighton, and I see a change of pace guy. I see somebody that, he gets the ball, and he just goes and hits the hole. He's not patient like Cam, he just hits the hole at full speed, and I think we need that. Change of direction is ridiculous. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Duke Johnson. That's the closest comparison I can see. And as a freshman, I don't see it as a negative. And going back to what some of you mentioned about Thad Franklin, who cares if he has Cam Harris coming back next year? Who cares? I mean, we're consistently putting running backs in the league, whether it's 4th, 5th rounders, whatever it is, this is just to add on to that. If I'm a running back that wants to play early and stuff like that, fine, I could go elsewhere. But if I want to go somewhere to the league, somewhere where I know running backs are going to be featured in an offense, the Rhett Lashley system is perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't see why he wouldn't come here.
Yeah, I think it'll take a couple more games to. He says he's 100% committed, but any school could obviously change that. But I think if he can tell that it's like 3 running back heavy, like they're using all 3, then I'm sure then he'll be like, all right, I'm gonna take my chances. But
I mean, look, right now we have 3 NFL backs. I think Cam is gonna be in the NFL next year. I think Don and Jalen have first-round running back potential down the line. I mean, it's just the facts. Miami is RBU. We're tight end U. We're NFL U. Even when we're down, we're still producing people. So, I mean, look.
I think it's a little too early to tell, but yeah.
I mean, look, I think my comparison for Jalen Knighton is Dalvin Cook. I see the same thing, in my opinion.
How about Cheney? Who's your comparison for him?
Well, people not gonna like this, but I see a little bit of Leonard Fournette.
Damn.
I don't think Thad should honestly worry too much about playing right away. I don't think any true freshman should. You shouldn't expect to play right away, in my opinion. I mean, no matter how good you are. I understand that some guys just truly want to, but if you want to be in that kind of a system, especially a system that reloads and continually puts guys in the NFL, you're going to have to pay your dues. You're going to have to earn your spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the perfect thing you could tell to a guy like that is, look, Josh Jacobs at Alabama, he never was the featured guy at Alabama, and he left as a redshirt sophomore, and he was a first-round pick. So essentially what I'm saying is, even if you don't play that much, and if you play here and there, if you ball out, you're gonna go to the NFL, and people are gonna see your talent. Honestly, I don't know why you would want to go to a place where you're gonna be the main guy, and they're gonna run you to the ground, and then you're gonna be worn out by the time you get to the league.
That's how it looks like when I saw him play today. That was the whole offense. It was give him the ball, and if he doesn't play, then they're gonna lose. So I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I'd like to ask him that, and hopefully I do. I'm gonna try to go to their game next week, and I'll ask him if he's like, if he wants, if I don't know, something about his mentality day one, if he's willing to sit, stuff like that. But right now in high school, his mentality is just give him the ball every single play.
Who do they play next week?
They play James Williams next week at American Heritage.
That's gonna be a show.
Yeah, this week they play the state champion team, Champagnat.
Yeah, I know. I'll try and see if I can make that game because I really want to see.
Yeah, they're gonna let fans in that time. They're gonna let fans in.
Hey, 247. You're not on the sidelines, man. You ain't about it.
You're 100%, and that's why I'm trying to live up to it, young man.
Right. When are you dropping the live, bro? Can we promote it a little bit? I mean, we're here. Hurricanes huddle. Let's do it.
All right, it's gonna go live on Sunday.
Sunday.
I'm trying to tweak some things out still, but I'm trying to make it special, man. I'm trying to be
Hurricanes
unique.
huddle, man. It's a young Canes insight. That's the peak.
I'm not trying to compete with Kane's Insight. Kane's, everybody knows Kane's Insight. They got great content over there.
That's the dynasty right there, man.
Yes, sir.
Love it. Love it. That's not the Manny Diaz mentality, man. You're not coming out cocky. You're coming in humble. You're saying it's a rebuild year out the gate. I love that. I love that. Man, that's the thing. Like, I feel like everyone's on edge or just feels pressure that we have to win because Manny said this is the new Miami. Win now. If Manny went into his first press conference and he said, yo, guys, we're rebuilding. All right, it's going to take a couple years. It's going to take 3 years. Do you think we have that same mentality? I think that's my perception of the program. If Manny straight up said in the press conference, we're going to rebuild, I'd be a lot more patient. He put a lot of pressure on himself. That's why I feel like people are very hard on him.
No, I agree 1,000% on that. You can't be so braggadocious and be like, oh, we're this, we're that. You got Brevin Jordan saying in an interview before the Florida game, oh, the new Miami, we're different. Yeah, you're a different color of shit, to be honest with you. Like, what is it, man? Like, look, Miami back in the day, they didn't do all that talking. You know what they did? They did their talking on the field. They're like, you know what? You can talk all you want. We're just going to smash you, and then, if you want to talk after the game, we'll beat your ass in the parking lot saying. I don't know, man. I think Manny, I'm hoping, this year goes good. But there are 3 things that he got to fix. And with the quickness, you got to fix you got to fix the cornerback room. You got to fix the linebacker room. And, people don't want to talk about it. But, I like Coach Likens, but we got to find a way to prove to people that they have to fear our receivers. Because guess what's going to happen? If nobody can step up, people going to start doubling Brevin Jordan. And if our receivers can't create separation, if they can't get open, they're going to stack the box, and they're going to dare us to pass. And, I don't know. I don't know if we got a receiver that's going to step up to the plate. But what I do know is somebody got to step up.
Referring to Likens, I mean, you can't really blame him just because he was given that room.
No, I agree with you. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I give him 2 years to pull in some guys. 2-3 years, pull in some guys and see what he's about. I mean, he's obviously produced NFL dudes. So
I gotta see a guy. I like to judge a guy after he gets his own recruits in. Like he's working with other people's recruits who might not exactly fit his mold of development and that kind of stuff. So I like to see a guy at least get a sophomore's worth of talent in there, on his own players.
I feel you on that, but look, you got people saying a few weeks ago, he said, oh, Jeremiah Payton has the most talent of any receiver I've ever coached. Really? If that's true, then guess what? He got to go out there and show it. Yeah. And I think Payton, honestly, I think he's the only one with the potential that could be an alpha in our room. It's either him or Wiggins. But Wiggins, I don't know, man. He's here and there. I think, honestly, if it were me, I'm throwing him out there and I'm starting him against Louisville. Because you know what? Louisville's defense is food. Their cornerbacks suck. Their D-line sucks. Their linebackers are slow. Like, look, if you really about that life, then you know what you're gonna do. You're gonna go over there and you're gonna dominate. And
I understand
honestly,
that. Listen, I understand that every single fan wants like your Tutu Atwells, you want your Jerry Judys, you want those type of receivers. But in this Rhett Lashley offense, I think it's better to have 3 stud receivers that could make a play, and they all bring a significant difference to their game. D Wiggins, he's a great route runner, and you could always find them, when you need him. Jeremiah Payton might have the potential. He might be the deep threat that we need. Every single guy brings something different. And under a Rhett Lashley offense, everybody eats. So what I'm trying to say is I rather have an offense and receivers, 3 different receivers that the defense has to worry about, that just one guy that people could just double team or triple team or whatever they want to do to take him out the game. So I understand you want your Amon Richard on the field, but right now, it's just one game. Give it a couple of games before we start, attacking Rob Likens and stuff like that. That's just my opinion. It's just one game. These coaches haven't even been in the system for a full year. Rhett Lashley or Likens, they've been here for months.
Season. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like next week, what do you want to see from the offense? Because if you want to see better passing, then you're probably not going to see the same type of running, just because you can't hand it off to three guys that much. Also, King, who uses his legs a lot, and then expect like 4 receivers to put up numbers and the 2 tight ends.
Just be more fluid on offense, man. Like, incorporate the tight ends, please.
Yes, big time.
Yeah, I think it's more like second and third down, just first, second, and third down running the ball. They did that like 2-3 times.
Why were you doing halfback draws on 3rd and 19? Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
They were sticking to the game plan. I think that's what it was.
Hey,
I think it was very vanilla.
Let's go deep. First play of the game, like, bro, like, that's cute and all, but like, it's kind of a dumb play, bro. Like, just throw a freaking drag down the middle of the field, give it to freaking Mike Harley. He'll take it up the gut for 15 yards, man. Like,
yeah.
The crazy thing is when we did throw slants, we threw maybe like less than 5. They were really successful. Harley caught one for like 15 yards on the first drive. I think Wiggins caught one. Like, hey, incorporate more slants, more comeback routes. You feel me? Like, I don't know. Well, I think they were doing, a really vanilla playbook. But look, that ain't gonna work against Louisville.
I think it was just the defense that UAB was playing.
No, listen. I saw Rhett Lashley make adjustments. I know that they came out in the different defensive front that they came out last game, but I kept on pointing it out to somebody that was sitting close to me. I was like, listen, they're leaving Peyton on the outside 1-on-1. They're leaving him out and they're putting an extra man in the box, and that's when we went deep. So I know they were adjusting to the defenses. So that's why I'm saying it's just one game, Yeah. I saw that adjustment and I'm like, oh, we got our guy. Because last season, they would have made that adjustment and nothing would have happened. Enos would have called an end around that would have gone for a 15-yard loss. I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true. Honestly, I got a question for y'all. What do y'all think is gonna happen next week? Like, y'all confident we gonna get a W? I am, but I don't know.
I'm like 75% confident we will, but at the same time, like, I also like know that like if our offense like doesn't show up, like we're gonna be in a dogfight. We were in a dogfight with UAB in 3/4 of the game. Like, like my prediction will change depending on this weekend when I see other teams if they're rusty as well. Like if I see a bunch of upsets, then I'm like, oh shit, like everyone's having trouble. You know what I mean? But if I see like teams like just airing it out, like playing, like they just started like practicing for like 6 months, like then I'm gonna be a little bit worried. If Miami was the only team that looked rusty. But let's see after this weekend, man, because Miami was the first Power 5 team to play. So.
I'm not worried at all.
I'm not worried. I think it can only go up from here. Like De'Aaron King said in his post game interview, like the transition from week 1 to 2 is usually like drastic. So I think it can only get better for sure. I mean, hopefully I'm not wrong. But yeah, I just want to see more passing. I want to see more passing. Whenever they let King drop back, he would just drop bullets like fastballs. Like the camera couldn't even keep up with that shit. He was throwing some fast passes into like 13-yard gains, 15-yard gains, and he did it like 3 times only. The deep ball, I forgot who he overthrew. I don't know if it was Wiggins or Harley on the right side of the.
I believe it was Hardy.
Yeah, it was Hardy.
Yeah,
It was Hardy.
that was like one of them. Harley gave up on. I kind of replayed it. He kind of gave up on it, but I don't know. You can't really tell with the replay. I put it in slow motion, but yeah, I think just throw the ball more. Like, what could he lose? I don't know. I think
No-
he needs to throw the ball more.
I don't think
No-
this game will look like it did last year. That's for sure. If we
Right.
win it with the same kind of score that we kind of beat UAB against, I wouldn't be honestly surprised.
Wow.
Well, can I say something about this last year's game?
It was last year.
This is why I'm not worried. People forget that we threw wait, no, that wasn't Louisville. Was
touchdowns.
it Louisville?
It was
Yeah,
Louisville.
6
Jaron Williams looked like Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Oof.
He tied
Exactly. So I'm
tied
not
the
worried. If Jaron Williams could do that to that defense, just imagine what King can do. I mean,
but
you
just
know,
imagine what Louisville fans are saying. They're
Good.
saying fluke, just like the FIU game. Fluke, just like this. So, I mean, it
Jaron's
could.
not a bad QB though, man. He showed flashes of a
Yeah, I
good
know.
quarterback. I thought he showed
He's
flashes
good.
at times. He was a good quarterback. You know, he just wasn't consistent.
Yeah, I want to
But
see him in the spring playing JUCO.
we did not have a dual threat quarterback.
Right, yeah,
Exactly. So that's going to change their defensive game plan completely. I'm not worried about that. I think it's more than likely going to be a shootout than anything else.
Yeah.
What's your prediction?
Oh, my bad.
Let's do it. Prediction time. Let's do it and we'll end it.
Ooh, honestly, for me, right now, I'm thinking 44-26. 44-26.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll go in. I know I'm gonna change my prediction just because I haven't really watched too much of Louisville and gone in depth, written all about it, all that. I need at least 35 from Miami. I'm gonna keep it there almost every game at 35, just because they averaged 41 last year. Anything is better than what Miami averaged in 2019. But 35, maybe 21, 24, 35, 24.
I'm gonna say 38-17. I want to see us push a little closer to that 40 mark if possible, but I think Louisville will get on the board a couple times.
247.
I'm gonna say 52.
Oof.
And I'll give Tutu Atwell a couple touchdowns, but at the end of the day, I think it'll be maybe like 24. So 52-24.
52.
I'll say 41-31. Miami pulls it out. I think it's going to be Miami pulls away at the end of the fourth quarter. But I think it's going to be a shootout for 3 quarters, man. That's just what I'm going to expect. But I could be completely wrong. Someone could be completely right. I mean, that's the beauty of, as a fan, to find out, if our predictions do come true, if what we worried about last week is really a concern or we're just complete dumbasses. So hey,
I'm always gonna have the Homer glasses put on. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my homework. I'll come back to this one for sure.
JT4, baby, that was our All-American. God damn, Jaron was gonna be the next Deshaun Watson too. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's 1 a.m. I mean, for Fresh Northwest, he's 4 hours back. So, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. And it's a wrap. Thank you again, guys.
Go Canes.
Yes, sir.